So a picture's worth 1,000 words. So much of their technology is hidden right in plain sight. This is a replica image of the original thing, okay? A friend donated this to me. I wanted you to see this image right here. You can go back and pause it and take a good look at that. Everything I've been teaching you guys is right there in that image. And these aliens, believe it or not, have been landing on the back of the Sphinx. That's what that is. So you can see in that image. And they're bending the light. And you can see the craft, you can see the people on the craft. And this is a reverse image, like if you split this in half, like 2 dimensions. It's the same exact thing, but they do this with all their images. I don't know why they do that. It's like a 2-dimensional image. It's the same thing. If you notice, see the bird's feet right here carrying the Ohm symbol? Okay? And his feet over here are on the front, and over here they're in the back. So everything's in reverse, just like his arm and his shoulder. You know, right here they have the Ohm symbol right here that they're showing you, and then right here it's like that, and over here it's closed in. So everything is in reverse. The switch is closed, that's a symbol for a switch, and over here it's open. And you can find any symbol in these Egyptian hieroglyphs right in these simple books like this. Okay, real simple stuff. You go in here and you're going to see everything that I show you guys right on these images. You're going to see sine wave, you're going to see square wave, you're going to see things about solar panels. That's what a feather does. A feather collects electricity. That's why they have that there. Chicken sticks for handling high voltage. You're going to see this too. I'm going to explain that in here in just a minute. But this is not a good image. You can see the technocracy, the hierarchy of the water pyramid system. The tetrahedron, the Sphinx, is actually part of the Tet system. You know, those 8-sided pyramids over in Egypt have a Sphinx sitting out front. You can clearly see him trampling on man. Okay? So this image is actually pretty scary. You know, the higher technology, the ability to fly. These are vultures, you know, these aren't doves. This is a scary image, you know. Man is on the bottom here. I'm going to show you the Sphinx. See, look at this image right here. You see Ra, his ship. This little part right here, look right there. It's the same thing. You know, anybody can go find these images. You know, just like Tesla and a lot of other guys, you know, people looked over to Egypt for high technology. I do the same. Stan did the same thing. You know, once you tap into all this stuff, it's there. You just have to look for it. Did you all know that Stan was in a movie? Yeah, they put him in a movie called Cirrus. Okay? This was an alien movie, and it came out in 2013, I do believe. So you have to go check that out. You know, I've looked at a lot of Stan's work, and it's highly advanced. It's radical technology, you know. That's why you're seeing all this stuff back in Egypt. Think about it. That's where all the water fuel cell technology came from. You know, flying snakes. We'll get into that later, but a picture's worth 1,000 words, you know. I mean, the images speak for themselves. I just wanted to show it to you, pointing some of this stuff out. Stan was a genius, and I'm sure he saw some of this in his time. He'd always say the energy had to come from somewhere. You know, that's one of his sayings.
Anita, and when they realized that we were doing voltage, guess what the questioner was asking? Where is the energy coming from? We assumed it was being consumed or absorbed from the electron, but you're restricting the electron. Where is the energy coming from?
So just so in layman's terms, this was Stan was trying to do. If you look at my fuel cell here, and you notice that orange color and that power of the sun coming in there when you have a flashback, well, he wanted to continue that action, okay? When you took apart the water molecule and you've broke it apart into HHO gas, what he was doing was like what happens in a gas ionization tube with neon lights. He's using 5,000 volts or higher I assume this is how the plasma link circuit works. See, an atom can never lose all of its energy. This electron has to keep spinning this gyroscopic action around the proton. It can never just fall down there and get stuck to the edge of it. That's impossible. So that energy has to come from somewhere, and that's what he's trying to tell you. That energy comes from the throne of God night and day. That comes from the universe. You know, people call it ether energy or the 0 point energy, but that energy that keeps these atoms moving and keeps those actions alive is what he was tapping into. You know, he had the gas here, it's already ionized, he's already broke it apart, and now he's going through electrolysis again, basically. He's hitting it with these 2 high voltage fields, and then he's putting the gas under ignition after he destabilizes the hydrogen atom using a laser. He uses an extra light to have the hydrogen gas absorb it, and then it puts it in a destabilized state. Then they can't come back together to form the water molecule again, and it just continues to release that enormous amount of thermal explosive energy. That was the whole thing. It would look just like that all the time. So that's pretty much it in layman's terms. Well, if that helps you understand what he was doing. There's a lot of debate whether the Sphinx is male or female. It sure looks female to me. I'm gonna have to go with female. Yeah, the last time I seen a baboon teleported anywhere, I think that's the movie The Fly. Anyways, it's strange. Always looking for high technology in these images. See him playing with snakes? We'll get into that later. You'll see why there's so many snakes. And the sun, and the snakes. People traveling on boats to the stars. Alright, this is the scariest image yet. This is the interstellar plasma link circuit. And how I got my hands on this was deciphered by a guy named Wayne Herschel. Okay? And a couple of people have looked at this, and I've had a few independent people decipher what's here without seeing the letters, and they come up with the exact same thing. So it's the same as the pictures like this, where they built it in duality, where it's the same picture split in half. That's how this works. And it's the only image that I have that actually tells you everything about electrolysis. It mentions the water, it mentions the dialect, it mentions using DC electricity, and it goes a bit further. It talks about entrapment and putting it in the celestial body and God's electricity supporting life. And what it says is you could take a negative charge and somehow you can take the gas, the water molecule like this, and then when you've split it apart, you hold it apart like this using 2 huge magnetic fields, and then it goes under ignition, then it can't come back together.
And gases and go into the gas ignition process, its energy releases roughly 2.5 times that of gasoline. Now note the reference is not 2.5 times that of fingernail polish, it's 2.5 times that of gasoline. But in the hydrogen fracturing technology, we have developed the technology, as the Lord has shown me, that by igniting the hydrogen and oxygen gases and setting up a condition by which the water molecule is prevented to form, then we now can tap into a very higher energy yield. And as a result of this, the hydrogen fracturing technology shows that we can release energy up to beyond 2.5 million barrels of oil per gallon of water and do it safely.
Just wanted to put that in there and show you guys. More alien technology. You can see the water molecule right here. That's what the two snakes in the oxygen atom right there. You know, that's what you're looking at. Okay? Hydrogen gas will absorb certain lights. It's like emission in reverse. If you come down here, this is what Stan wanted to do. He wanted to take the flashback, how it recombines. When it goes to recombine like that in the hose, we've all seen it. He wanted to continue that process and keep that going, and keep that light going, keep that continuous release of thermal energy by preventing the water molecule from forming. He would split the water, and you'd have the two ionized gases, and then he would have a huge electromagnetic field to keep the gases from reforming under ignition. And the way he did that was he used a laser beam. You can use a laser to destabilize the hydrogen atom, because if you get the right frequency and the right absorption, it will destabilize the hydrogen atom. It will absorb it and send its electron into its outer orbital shell. And what will happen is you can make the oxygen atom where it cannot accept the hydrogen atom, and then this process would continue. You'll continue to get that light like you see under a flashback. It would release tremendous amounts of power. And whatever you do, don't forget about Serket. This is an Egyptian goddess. The scorpion's her symbol. Okay? This is what it looks like when you look at from the Pleiades star system back at our solar system. See, Earth fits in the scorpion right there, the sun. She guards the secret to the gods. She's an underwater scorpion breather. It's called a neoped or something like that. But don't forget about her. She's tied in there with the power circle too. Yeah, I remember when Stanley Meyer worked with electricity, he worked with gas, he worked with physics, science, the table of elements, light, electricity, you name it. You have to be a genius. I mean, literally, that's why HHO and electrolysis, you have to know a little bit about science. You can't just jump right into something like that, you know? But if you look really hard here, you can see the bowl of water, and you can see this beetle, and he makes standing waves. Okay, that beetle makes standing waves. Those are waves, square wave, like this. Okay, they're waves that don't dip into the negative. Okay, that's what that beetle does, and he represents the proton. Okay, you can see that right here in this image, how they've put it in that cartouche. Take a good look here. You see in his feet, he's got the ohm symbol. You're always going to see that because it has a lot to do with resistance. See, positive, the proton. Okay? Positive. That's how this works out. I'm just trying to show this to you. I want you to see what's in that image. There's so much. I could go on forever how much stuff is in there. But if you take a good look here, you can clearly see the resemblance of some of this stuff. And they're always showing you stars, sine wave, bowls of water, you know, waterproofing things, different speeds. You know, snails would be slow, rabbits would be fast. Night vision, the sun. Stan worked with this stuff. See, a lot of people don't know that. Some of the greatest inventors and scientists, you know, they looked back to Egypt, you know, they looked in that direction. And the signs and symbols are there. You just have to look for them. When you work with electricity and you work with stuff like this, you're going to see this stuff. It sticks out. That's cool. When he swims, he makes standing waves.